Did you know the Bible shows a healthy model for attraction, dating, and relationships? Had I understood this sooner, I could have saved myself years of emotional efforts, striving, and confusion. We've been going through this series, Sexuality Says Something, talking about Ephesians chapter 5, where it shows us that the mystery of the love story between a man and a woman is designed to show us a picture of the love story between Jesus and his people, between Christ and the church. So in Ephesians 5, it shows us a couple different principles, but one is where it's saying for the husbands to love their wives just as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for her. But it also talks about the wives submitting to their husbands as to the Lord, and it talks more about that. So too, we see this principle that just as marriage is designed to show us a picture of the relationship between Jesus and the church, so Jesus and the church show us a model for how marriages are intended to work. But I also see here this incredible model for how attraction, dating, and relationships work as well. You see, just as I described in the first video, how Jesus sees us, he loved us, he pursued us before we ever loved him. While we were still sinners, Christ died for us to pay the full price to free us from sin and bring us into covenant relationship with himself. And in recognizing his goodness, our hearts responded back to him. And all these things, I see this incredible model for men and women with regard to healthy attraction, dating, and pursuit of relationships. So let's talk about the implications that I see here, starting with the men. So for the men, my encouragement for you guys is to honorably pursue the woman that you value. In the same way that Jesus pursued us, his bride, the church, so too we as men should recognize and pursue the woman that we value to show her the significance that she has to us, that she's deserving of our time, of our effort, of our communication, that she can have fun, that she can relax, that she's safe with us, that we value her and we desire to grow in understanding her and in relating with her. It's in this watering of honorable pursuit that her heart has a safe place to rest, consider, and respond. And this response may include blooming with attraction back towards us as well. I encourage you guys not to get caught up in the question of, well, what does she think about me? Does she like me? Is she interested? This doesn't mean that we ignore her perspective, but rather we focus on the fact that we value her. And in this, we are coming to sweep her off her feet. In this, we are coming to honor her, show her that she is valuable, and in that, she is free to make the decision as she sees best. I encourage you guys that healthy women are looking for healthy men to show them their value, to pursue them honorably, to initiate, to sweep them off their feet, to win her heart over and show her that you, this particular man, are deserving of her heart's focus and attention. So reach out in conversation, reach out on message, if online, but connect with her, talk with her, be creative, be fun, or relate with her and show her that you're considering of the unique and special person that she is. And yes, and then invite this woman on a date with you. This doesn't have to be this huge thing with tons of pressure, but this is just a time for you two to interact together, to get to know each other a little bit better. One helpful focus the Lord highlighted to me was that when we go on a date, don't focus on, well, what do I feel, what do I think, etc., but to make our primary focus to bless this lady, to show her a good time, for her to enjoy, for her to have fun. And from that, I'm free to rest, relax, and just be myself. And both our hearts are really free to breathe, relax, and respond as is fitting. Now remember that this may take a couple dates as well. And if she's open to that, continue inviting as you continue having interest as well. You also might realize in interacting with her that you aren't as interested as you thought you were. And in that case, it's okay to let things gradually slow down and, as necessary, communicate that as well. So in all this, if these things work out, thank God, that's so exciting. And now you both can move towards a relationship together. But then you might say, yeah, but Daniel, what if it doesn't work out? What if after all this, she's not interested in me? That's a valid thing to consider. And it is important for us to keep in mind that if we've interacted with her a bit, and in her recognizing who we are, if she's not interested, that it's an honor to herself and to us to set down our pursuit. But it's also important to recognize that our efforts have not been for nothing. You have honored her, showing her that she is a valuable and precious woman, deserving of honorable pursuit and attention. In this, you've also honored yourself as a man, recognizing the woman that you valued and pursuing her honorably as well. And most significantly, you've honored the Lord God himself by valuing those that he values and reflecting him through this pursuit. Now guys, this might seem obvious, but an important aspect to highlight as well is that a woman might even be very interested in you and make that very clear. But ultimately, if you recognize that you are not attracted to her, do not pursue her. When it comes to men in general, we can recognize pretty quickly who we are or are not attracted to. Now I encourage you guys, don't set boxes for this is the kind of woman that I am attracted to and this is the kind that I'm not. It's important to understand that attraction includes valuing her physical beauty. And as godly men, we need to do this purely and righteously. But valuing her physical beauty is part of valuing the precious and unique woman that God has designed her to be. And ultimately, she wants a man who recognizes and appreciates her beauty. But another important aspect of attraction is valuing who she is on the inside as well. Her unique personality, the way she relates to life and others in her life, the way she responds to you and how you feel in that interaction, but also the way she responds to other people, the way that she responds and lives in life with God as well. It's also fine to recognize that our heart does not respond the same to all types or levels of beauty. That there may be one person who is very beautiful in the sight of one man that you simply don't find that attractive. That's why you can trust God that if you aren't interested in one particular lady, we can recognize that we are not their savior, that we can't be everything for every person, that this precious lady deserves someone who will passionately pursue her as she deserves, and trust that God is big enough and good enough to bring a great man to honorably pursue her instead. In all these things, we look first to the primary example of Jesus pursuing his bride. That when he saw his bride, when he saw us, he didn't say, I guess I can live with them. I guess it'll be okay. I guess I'm willing to pay for them. Jesus saw us as precious and beautiful in his sight. It was for the joy set before him that he endured the cross, despised the shame, and finished the work necessary to bring us into covenant with him. So in a reflection of this, in the same way, passionately pursue the woman that you value. Do it honorably, do it in a way that's safe, creative, and fun, and ultimately give her the chance to consider you for who you really are, and in that naturally respond. So now for the ladies, I think it's incredible that in the gospel, Jesus recognizes his bride, the church, you and I. He pursues us, and in us recognizing his love, and in us receiving his love, our heart opens in love back to him. As a reflection of this, God has designed that men in general can recognize fairly quickly who they're attracted to, whereas a woman's attraction tends to develop based upon how she feels in interacting with a man. So based on these principles, my encouragement for you ladies is to honor yourself and honor good men by making space to be pursued. This means you might recognize a man who has a lot of good character and qualities about him, but you just recognize that you aren't really attracted to him. My encouragement for you is to leave space to be pursued, to be valued by him, Perhaps he'll win you over. Have the conversations with him. Interact with him. If he invites you on some dates, go on a couple dates with him. Enjoy that time of honorable exchange with him. And yeah, sure, if you just recognize your heart just still is not interested in him, I think it's totally fine, totally reasonable to set it down and move on. Yet also remember, with the way that God has wired a woman's heart in general, that through interacting with this man and seeing his goodness, you may find your heart won over to him as well. Now, ladies, I encourage you that the man has to know that you exist in order to pursue you. So go and be in the places where these good men are. Go to parties or gatherings with church or friends. This may also include online venues as well, with dating apps and even on social media, adding somebody on Facebook or following them on Instagram. Now, in these venues, you may recognize different good men. And while I've encouraged the good men to honorably pursue you already, I will also let you know that sometimes a man is looking for a good and natural point of connection with you. And that's where I'd encourage you ladies to drop a hanky, this old-fashioned term where a lady would have her handkerchief and she would drop it to where the gentleman could come pick it up for her and then they could begin a conversation. I encourage you ladies to use this technique as well to leave a space for him to pursue you. It may be in complimenting something he's wearing, something he said or done. It may be in asking him about the event or the gathering that you're both attending. It may be through inviting him to a party or a gathering somewhere as well. But in all these things, you are allowing a space for him to initiate a pursuit of you out of his value for you. But I also encourage you that if he doesn't pursue you, to value yourself and him enough to set it down and move on. You may even recognize that a man has good potential, that if he just got healed a little bit more or changed in a variety of ways, that things would just fit really well between you both. Now I encourage you, as hard as it is, wisdom shows us that the best option for him and for you in this case is to let that option go and to trust God for his incredible provision for you. A great man who will value you and honorably pursue you, and not someone who you have to fix, someone you have to change, or someone you have to chase after. The truth is that healthy, honorable men don't want a woman to chase after them. The truth is that we want to win your heart. We want to find you. We want to show you that we recognize your value. We want to climb over any wall. We want to push down any barrier. We want to get to you. We want to win your heart because we value you and desire a relationship with you. In the same way that Jesus passionately pursued you and gave everything that he had to get to you, you deserve someone who passionately understands that he desires relationship with you and pursues you honorably to receive that. And it's in this kind of relationship there's a basis is formed for a continual valuing of one to the other in a way that reveals the love story between Jesus and the church. Now, in all these things, my most important encouragement for you guys is to go with the Lord. In Proverbs 3, verse 5 through 6, it says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths." This means that as we're inviting the Lord with us into our lives, we're acknowledging him, we're desiring his leading, his direction. We're not depending on our own wisdom or our own understanding or what we think is best, but based on his principles from his word, guided through his spirit, and receiving from the counsel of others who love and know him and us as well. This means that he will guide us, he will direct our steps in the ways we should go, and he will show us the good path for us to take. This means that yes, First and foremost, we're seeking relationship with Him and seeking the priorities that He has placed in our lives. And yes, in that, He may point out particular people to us. He may point out a new opportunity for making new connections, or a new platform, or a group, or a gathering as well. But this also means that sometimes He may tell us to take a break. If you're sensing that God wants you to take a break from the world of dating for a moment, I encourage you, it's very important. I think one huge indicator that we do need a break and do need healing of some kind is that we notice continual negative cycles in our life. This might be that we seem to continually attract the wrong kinds of people. It may be that the people that we're pursuing in relationship continually are turning us down. It may be that things in our life need to get sorted through, or it may be that things in our heart need to get healed and sorted through in a variety of ways. We may also need to receive God's freedom and restoration from patterns of sexual sin. And you can check out my previous videos on that as well. Now, as He shepherds you, He may also be leading you on. He may also be saying, come on in, pursue a relationship, check out this platform of connection, or this gathering, or this group, or these different things. He may leave a lot of things open to you, but go always with Him, recognizing, Father, I want to stay in the paths that You have for me. I want to reach Your intentions for me in these things. And in all these things, as we're honoring the Lord, first of all, for Him to direct us, He will show us the steps that we need to take. Now, for some helpful resources for you guys along these lines, I'd recommend the Christian counselor, author, and speaker, Deborah Fileta. She wrote one book called True Love Dates. It's a great overall guide with regard to a godly perspective of dating. She also wrote a great book called Love in Every Season. And if you guys are recognizing negative patterns in your life or needing healing in a variety of ways, definitely check out her new book called Reset as well. Also, definitely follow her on social media, where she's always sharing helpful and practical insights and wisdom as well. There's also a great book called The Sacred Search by Gary Thomas, another Christian counselor, a great book talking about what it is that makes a great fit leading towards a marriage. Another great book is called Rethinking Sexuality by Dr. Julie Slattery. It talks about God's design and why it matters with regard to sexuality. I've learned a lot from this book. You can also follow her ministry, Authentic Intimacy, as well, which offers a variety of wisdom, especially for married couples, but also for singles as well. When it comes to dating apps, there's no app that I would recommend more than the Holy app. This app is actually owned by Christians. Everything in each person's profile is centered around a celebration and appreciation of Jesus. And there's been no app that I've found to be more wholesome in my experience. I also encourage you guys to check out the Instagram Kelly's Corner Singles. Kelly is a great lady offering this ministry where people will pay a small fee to feature their profile on the Instagram. She has thousands of followers. There's been thousands of interactions through this. And currently, I think there's been about 50 marriages from it so far. And all these things, I appreciate you guys watching this series. I hope and pray that it's been helpful for you. Definitely let me know if you have any questions or comments. And definitely share this with others who may find this helpful as well. May God's grace and peace be with you in these things. May He lead you one step at a time into His incredible intentions, all paid for through Jesus.